And we're live. What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite truck driver or ex-truck driver in the whole wide world. It's Bitcoin Ben. Today, I got you guys are going to want to watch this 2 or 3 times. I'm telling you now. I got two of the guys who I love watching, and one of them. Now, I don't know how much information CJ's got, but I definitely know that the Guerrilla, if you don't know this guy, then I don't know what rock you've been hiding under. This guy literally has his hands in everything in New York. If it's going on in crypto, he knows about it before anybody knows about it. He is, and I want you guys, please. I have a friggin' Patreon group. You guys know that. But if you want the top, breaking what's going on in the world, join the Guerrilla Patreon group. This guy puts out more real news a month ahead of anybody else hearing anything about it. And he puts it on his Patreon group. And I'm telling you, don't even worry about the $7 one. Go to the $10 one. And I'm telling you right now, you will not Netflix and chill. You will Guerrilla and chill. It is that good. So I guess that's a good enough introduction. V and CJ, welcome to the show.
Ben, you're making me blush.
Oh, you don't blush.
Thank you, Ben.
What's up, Ben? How you
Appreciate it.
doing?
Hey, no problem. And there's a link right under my YouTube video. Usually my Patreon is right on top. This is so important, guys, especially what we got coming up here in the next couple months. I actually put V's above mine. That's how much I want you guys to join his Patreon. Absolutely essential. You've heard of prepping? This is prepper. This is what V is who prepper goes to in order to prep. Oh, click that link and join now. If you don't, you're not preparing for what's coming. So, enough said. I've pushed it. Let's get right into the show. Let me close this screen here and let's rock and roll. All right, guys, welcome to the show. Like I said, now, V, I listened to your show yesterday with your friend W.
Yeah.
Great show. If you have not listened to it, listen to it. It's one of them that he put out on his regular YouTube channel. And please go and listen to that show. You'll get more real information from his show than you'll ever find on any other show. So, V, welcome to the show once again. As you can tell, I'm a little excited. It's I know for a fact, because I know some of the people you know, that there are some moves going on in cryptos that you have much more knowledge of than like I have. And would you lay out for the viewers what you see, what you can tell, and where we're going in cryptos?
Absolutely. There's a lot of things happening in the world globally. Metals, crypto, it's all interlinked. I remember years ago at this point, I myself CJ and I, our good friend Charles Hugh Smith, we're pretty much the only ones out there saying, listen, guys, it's not market collapse. Market's not going to fall next Tuesday to 5,000 point Dow. You know, we've been out there saying for quite a long time that the market's going to hit 29,000 point Dow and even further. This whole coronavirus thing was a monkey wrench in the situation because, let's be honest, nobody saw it coming. Okay, unless of course you're some insider who's connected to some super deviant satanic individuals, you would not have seen this coming. So the question becomes, where are we now? What is the state of the world and where we're headed? And again, the Fear Patrol and the FUD Patrol is on full tilt. They're literally out there scaring the crap out of everyone, saying it's the end of the world, it's over with, head for the hills. It's not over. The world is going to bounce back, and most importantly, I believe wholeheartedly when the economic dust settles, and when I'm looking at the movements that are happening in cryptocurrencies, and I'm looking at what's happening with the markets, I'm telling you right now, man, America is going to bounce back. America is going to bounce back bigger and better than ever, and I guarantee it. I stake my entire life on it. And what I mean by that is this. What this virus thing has showed us, and it's really shocked the crypto world. Okay, first few weeks of this whole entire virus hitting the United States, and the spook that it caused in the market happened with two things. It caused a panic where people are immediately, the naysayers are out there saying, "Oh, look, Bitcoin, it's not performing as a head of safe haven. It's not doing it. See? Look at it, it's garbage. It has failed the test of a safe harbor investment." And I'm like, hold on, man. Hold on. And this is, again, people have to understand, 90 some odd percent, I'd say about 97% of all the BTC wallets, all the BTC out in the market is held by about 3% of the total wallets that are out there. And the majority of those wallets are held by large institutions, and in some cases, some sovereigns, okay? These institutions have in the last 10 years been riding the largest bull market the world has ever seen. So when the market took a dive and the Dow crashed like 10,000 points, wiping out $11 trillion worth of wealth, where people were just like, oh, look at it out there. $11 trillion of wealth was totally wiped out. It's the end of the world as we know it. No, guys who do this every single day, day in and day out, we knew exactly what the hell was happening. These institutions just took a massive profit. When you go to the higher levels of the financial echelon, none of these guys are truly worried about this virus. Why? They know that there's a kill shot, for this virus to completely eliminate it, and I'll get into that later in the broadcast. So they took a massive $11 trillion profit, folks. Wealth is never destroyed; it's only transferred. Okay, and that's what we've witnessed here with this market going down. Now, when they went immediately liquid, they also in the OTC markets have also cashed out some of the Bitcoin, and they did it on purpose. Okay, they wanted to drive the price of Bitcoin down. Why? Well, they wanted to drive it down because there's a reordering of the economic landscape. Okay, the market will be back. The stock market and the equities market, the bond market, it will be back, but it's not going to be as many people see it. Okay. There's going to be a great influx of, and right now there's a great desire for, especially yield-starved banks. There's a great desire for alternative asset classes. And one of those alternative asset classes that are being looked at by a lot of these prominent institutions, especially these yield-starved banks, is cryptographic currencies, and the king of the hill being Bitcoin. Okay. How do I know that? Well, I'll tell you this. Okay. And I'll tie it in with the whole China virus thing and what's happening to the crypto miners and whatnot. There is right now, well, I'll just say this. Because of the whole virus thing, because of the disingenuous dishonesty of the CCP, and as evidence is mountain, and as I'm talking to you right now, there's a $20 trillion lawsuit that has been filed against China for engaging in biological warfare. A $20 trillion lawsuit. Okay, Italy is moving in motion right now, and I've heard from back channels because I have a connection with a member of 5 Star who is currently in the finance department in the government of Italy. Okay, Now, they are going to be motioning in the same direction to have China pay some sort of recompense for this insanity that has been released. Okay. So this fast forwards to a lot of industry, to a lot, especially the Bitcoin miners. Now they're like, wait a minute, the halvening is about to happen. We can't trust China. We originally set up a lot of operations in China to start mining Bitcoin. And between the halvening, between the requirements and power consumption, what you're going to see happening, Ben, is in the next few weeks, you're having a lot of that mining power coming home to roost. Where? Right here in the United States. One of which is a company that I'm intimately involved with. Okay, they are right now. They're currently being. They'll probably be open by June. They are, already garnering a great deal of investment dollars. They're being backed by some of the top financial institutions in the world, and they will be opening up in a President Trump designated opportunity zone in Northern Illinois. This company is doing something so revolutionary. It is next gen. They have the next gen mining cards, which are the mining rigs, which are basically 40% more energy efficient, 200% more faster than the S7, and as well as the S19 miners. The cards are going to be dunked in a proprietary. They've made this tub. That's a 3D printed tub that's about 3 foot by 10 foot, and into the tub is going to be 300 mining rigs dipped into there, fully submerged into a dielectric fluid. Now, this fluid does not conduct electricity. It only cools. So that's the beauty of it. And it's a specific fluid. It's unique to this company. It's much more advanced than what 3M is using. It's much more advanced than what General Electric is using. So this is next gen stuff, and it's a patented process. So they have this massive warehouse that's set up in that is being set up right now in Northern Illinois, and you're talking about hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of these mining rigs set up. I'm sorry, these tubs with these tens of thousands of rigs lined up in there. That is going to be fully operational. They've already negotiated the electricity yield at 3 cents per kilowatt. So, Ben, that's huge.
Holy cow.
This is going to be spread throughout the rest of the country. Folks, there's a reordering coming around. And when they open, they will be the largest data center in the United States. They will be the largest crypto miner in the United States. And the execs are people who are involved in some of the biggest name brands that you guys are familiar with today. So this is what's happening. And here's the kicker. The reason why I tie that in, into this whole entire conversation is this. There are a great deal of yield-starved banks all throughout the United States and in Canada that are willing to, A, jump in and invest in a project like this, and B, we are in the process of creating a debt instrument for them to trade based upon this project that is being developed in Northern Illinois. That is the real deal. This is happening, and this is verifiable. This is, again, we have all the paperwork. We have, all the things that are happening. And the mining card company, the company that's making this next generation of mining rigs, they just went public on the NASDAQ a few months ago, right before this whole Corona thing blew up. So this is all happening, Ben, and there's a lot of stuff like this that is happening. You're going to be seeing in the next few weeks factories that were on idle, factories that were shut down, that are going to be retooled and repurposed to bring back industry in this country. That's what's going to happen. What a lot of people thought was some sort of a setback. Man, it's going to be an absolute breakthrough, brother.
Yeah, I have a friend here in the Midwest who owns a lot of industrial property area over in Illinois, and he's basically getting a free forgivable loan to retool several of his plants. And he was approached last week by a group that wants to produce a certain product using easy for me to say 3D printing
Yes.
manufacturing techniques.
Mhm.
And as he explained it, I'm like, this is it. This is what's coming, because the printers that he's basically going to get for free through this forgivable federal loan is going to be able, they're not going to have to retool every product. They're going to have to load a new program into the printer. He said you can switch from one product to another product in half hour.
Wow, that's tremendous. That's tremendous.
Yeah, it is. And this mining company up in Chicago is it. I've heard of several of them launching in Texas.
Yeah, there's a big one in Texas.
And I also know of one that is actually they're breaking ground here soon in Utah near the NSA processing place in Utah. And so with all of this mining going on, that shows me, and I'd like your insight on this is the equivalent of the mining economy that was rolled out right prior to the Industrial Revolution of the late 1800s.
Right. Absolutely. You know, I'm seeing it the same way as well. It's you're seeing a lot of retooling, and oh my God, I mean, where do I begin? You know, I work with a lot of institutions in New York that are in, and a few in Chicago that deal in cryptographic currencies. One of whom is the largest liquidity provider for BTC in the entire world. They supply a lot of their top exchanges as well as trade platforms, one of which being Binance. They also supply Huobi. They also supply, I think they also supply the DCG Group, which owns Coinbase and Kraken. So they're a major player, and they're investing in that project that I told you about in terms of in Northern Illinois with this unique way, next generation crypto mining. And this is happening all throughout the world. Now, they're also on the forefront of moving legislation along, because the problem that we have right now in the United States, and this will be resolved, okay? When you look at regulations right now, and one of the projects that I'm involved in is, you know, we're in the process of trying to get an MTL license together because, and it's been a headache, okay? We're doing this for BTC, you know, as well, you know, cryptos and you know, and other cryptographic currencies. And there's so much regulatory hurdles. And perfect point. IRS views cryptos as property. The SEC views it as currency, and the CFTC views it as a commodity. So when you're trying to bootstrap any sort of a cryptographic company up from the ground up, you're running into all sorts of these hurdles. Okay. And I believe, and there is a concerted effort, you know, done by these institutions, one of which is a close client that I work with. They are doing amazing work. They're meeting with senators. They're meeting with congressmen. They're meeting with legislators. They're doing an amazing work to have this all streamlined so it becomes much more easier and much more friendlier for all the, you know, for the entire crypto, the BTC infrastructure to start proliferating right here in the continental United States, man. So it's really amazing to see this and to share this with people. I'm sharing this with people, so I want people to know. Listen, this is not some fad. You know, this is not some pie in the sky stuff. No, there's real things that are happening behind the scenes that a lot of people are not aware of, and then that's number one. And number two, you're not going to find this on the internet, man. You know, this is stuff right from the boardrooms. You know.
Yeah, it's I excuse me, Corona. Um, as as um, as a crypto influencer, which is a dumb name, I wish they'd come up with something cooler. Uh, I
We can call you the crypto pimp.
There we go. There we go. Um, I have a lot of friends in exchanges. Like earlier, I had the guys at Exodus on. They're great,
Yeah.
and you you hear about things that are coming months before the general public does,
Yeah.
and so we have a view that when we hint at it on our shows, or we kind of give it the wink without the wink, and then people call us crazy, and then 2 months down the line, when it's announced and we're proven right, it's it just shows you if you want to get ahead of the game, you've got to play the game. And right now, the game is knowledge. Listening to V, listening to my show. There's several other shows that are, we're not just reading CoinDesk. We're actually making calls and involved with projects. That's what I also do on actually like my Patreon channel. I have an area where projects I know about actually team up with accredited investors, and I bring them together. And that that gives the accredited investors access to some. Now, most of them, they have to actually sign like an NDA, and then they get the white paper and all that. But these are not ICOs. These are legitimate, like legal. You got to file with the SEC. You got to do all this. Lawyers are involved and all that. The real projects that are are offering equity shares and stuff like that. And I know you're an individual that a lot of people reach out to for what's next, what should I do next, advice, like consultating or consulting, also known as consultating. uh, and uh, what what do you see? And this is a part that I really want to hear. My God, I've sent you super chats, but I want to like really ask you questions. What I see is a split, and let me know if I'm right. Is a split where you have the global progressive Keynesian structured banks going one way, and the nationalist uh, uh, Austrian economic structured banks going another way. That's what we see going on with the Treasury Department and the Federal Reserve right now, is that split. What what do you anticipate coming over the next couple of months that we should watch out for?
That's a good question. See, do you want to handle that one first? So you've been quiet all day.
Yeah, well, no, it's perfectly fine. But Ben, hey, just really real quick, want to tip my hat to you for all the support and everything that you did for Bix through that time period. I tried to send you a message, and I kept trying to reach out to you directly, but I did watch the a little bit of the campaign that you did for him, and my hat's off to you for being there and supporting him through that time. So I just want to start with that, my man. So great job. He needed that, and you were there as a true friend. So that was pretty awesome of you.
Oh, well, thank you. That was a very sad time, and I love that guy like a brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think in terms of, what you said is so important, Ben, and that's that right now there's so many different content creators, and everyone's trying to look around and try to find the answers to these questions that sometimes the answers aren't there yet. But at the same time, trying to be optimistic about what the future holds and what it entails. And I think that we are coming through a massive paradigm shift currently, and the future is bright. However, we have to go through a little bit of pain to get there. And I think that's what we're currently experiencing right now. In terms of the statement, what you said in regards to the nationalist movement and the things that we're witnessing, I mean, the coronavirus itself literally may just completely separate the European Union altogether. Post-coronavirus, there may not be a European Union. And Italy started it with their One Belt Road Initiative project, was signing on with China, being very disruptive to the EU. And I think that's going to continue. There's no doubt here in the stateside that we take a look at some of the manufacturing and the attempts to reindustrialize the United States, which is absolutely the right thing to do. The $1 million question is that who's gonna manage that? Who's gonna control that? And so in part, it's going to be important for your listeners, for our listeners, to understand there's going to be a plethora of opportunities that are going to be coming forth. I read the other day, I believe that currently like 1/3 of the jobs or 1/3 of the employment is not going to be there after this is said and done. So it's time for everyone to kind of sharpen their tools, take a look at their toolkit, what they're doing, their different talents, and figure out how are they going to find a way to prosper in the new America that we're evolving to.
Yeah, I think that we are we're in the period of time where we're transitioning from horse and carriage to automobile, but we're jumping from horse and carriage to a Ferrari. It's going to be that quick of a jump from the old economic manufacturing structure into the new economic manufacturing structure. And I think that if you get ahead of it, if you front run the transition and you get the knowledge and the education and you recognize opportunity, that right now is when generational wealth is actually made. Although 1929 was a very hard, period of time, there were more millionaires made in 1929 than almost any, relative time in history, because there were people who used the technology of the telegraph, of radio, of telephones that were just like evolving at the time, to front run and foresee the future economy and internet and blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. Those are the technologies that are now gonna, if you do it right, you can front run the transition. And that's on my show, that's what I try and push people to, is get educated. First, learn the layout, learn blockchain, learn everything you can, just absorb. And hey, right now we're all locked down. The hell else you got to do? There's only so much you can sleep with your wife before she gets bored. It's literally slap and tickle the wife, then hop on YouTube. You know, we're at that moment where if you jump on it, you'll get it. And I'm not just talking about the wife thing. It's literally, if you plan, you will succeed beyond your effort. How much are you willing to put in is how much you'll get out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's an old
go ahead, V.
There's an old saying that I believe it was Rothschild who said it best. I buy when there's blood in the streets, even if it's my own. And that's a powerful statement because, look, here's the deal. The average American out there always buys high and sells low, okay? When BTC hit 20,000 and we're telling people, hey, start taking profit, and people thought it was going to go to, no, I'm not going to take profit. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold it until it goes to 50,000. That was a great time to take profit. And guess what, guys? The conditions in the world, in terms of the market, in terms of where we are with the upcoming halvening, all these things aligning in perfect synchronicity. We are heading towards, today, Ben, I don't know if you know this, but Bloomberg already flashed a buy signal for BTC today. A major buy signal. Today, and as soon as they flashed, I'll tell you right now, 1,000 BTC was purchased about maybe an hour ago. Okay, right before I came on this broadcast, 1,000 BTC was purchased. One of my partners just alerted me to that. That's huge. People are going nuts. Okay, and why? Because they know what's coming. Because look, what needed to happen? Okay, everybody took profit, and the virus was the perfect cover, the perfect smokescreen, the perfect pretext, in order to take a massive $11 trillion payout from the market. Fine, everyone is liquid now. What are they going to do? They're going to start moving into other asset classes. One of that is being crypto. And you're going to see the march up, especially as we're approaching the halvening, where all the conditions are just right, where we're going to see another explosion in the BTC price, man. It's exciting.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I have a few friends who run over the counter. There's one in Australia, one out in California, and the activity whenever cryptos drop goes up on the over the counters. It's the smart money. And I'm not saying the people that use Coinbase are stupid. I'm just saying the smart, bigger purchases on the over-the-counters that people don't hear about.
Yeah, OTC is way bigger than anything you do on exchange. Look, let's put it this way: all your exchanges right now, your Binances, your Krakens, your Geminis, your Coinbases, your Huobi's, your Bitrexes, all of them. Guess where they're getting coin from? They get it from liquidity providers, number one, but also alongside with the liquidity providers are hunting coin in the OTC market. That's where they all get it from.
That's absolutely. I've heard that from several guys who when there's a run, and see, this is what I've explained. I've had friends of mine who work at exchanges who they have the algorithms down, literally. I mean, if you don't think these exchanges have analyzed their own liquidity and buying pressure and volumes and all that, if you don't think they can see whenever for the volumes getting ready to come in, you've lost your mind, because they front run the volumes and they pull off of the over the counters. It's there's this juggling act. If the volumes on over the counters would show up on like Coin Market Cap, holy cow, you'd see a completely different world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have a question for you, V, and also CJ. Q says 10 days of darkness. What's your take?
10 days of darkness. That could be. It could mean anything. Most people think darkness. They think about the electricity going out. Um, Look, I mean, we've been having rolling blackouts on the internet here in New York last several days. There's been, I think, Spectrum a few days ago. They were collapsing. So, I mean, because could the 10 days of darkness be that? Not sure. Yeah, it's pretty open interpretation. It's very cryptic. I think also 10 days of darkness. It could be that there could be some actions and or events that are taking place during those 10 days. The fact is, it's a little outside my wheelhouse, so I can't exactly pin it. What about you, Siege?
Well, I think in reality, I think that we very well could see some major events to lead us to something of that, where one would regard it as 10 days of darkness. I took the time yesterday to venture out. I'm fortunate that I can still get out. We're allowed to go do some essential things like that. And what I'm seeing are some really major disruption to supply side and the inventory levels in these retail stores. And we're 2 weeks post the buying apocalypse, when everyone was out buying and reloading these stores. These merchants are having a really difficult time getting inventory levels built back into their stores. And I think it's important for everyone to assess that, primarily because now we're starting to get some disruptions on the warehouse side of it. I'm not sure if you caught the recent news where Walmart potentially has one warehouse, Amazon has another warehouse. Eventually, if the supply side breaks down and there's not food in the stores, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but at the same time, it's going to be mindful. It's one of the things that I threw out there initially with this whole keep everyone at home, let's shut things all down, is that essentially these people that are working in these essential groups, whether it's a hospital or retail setting, I've heard it already myself, where they're like, I want to be home. I don't want to be exposed to this. So the massive amount of people that are calling off sick or threatening that, hey, if I do come down with it, then you're going to be liable. I think that we are coming up on a period where I think that you really have to take that important to take a look at, not buying cat food yet, V. We've been, it's kind of an inside joke about cat food on Rogue, but at the same time, to be mindful of that. And that 10 days of darkness could mean a lot of things. It could mean that, hey, look, there's going to be some real struggle there in the urban population. If there's not a food there, I think that's when we see society start to break down just a little bit. And for whatever reason, some of the more liberal areas are kind of hell-bent on letting everyone out of jail during this time period. And I think that they're sowing the seeds of that chaos, that you go to a supply side shortage, you're purposely putting people who have been in jail for rape, for murder, you're creating that situation very much where it could get a little chaotic. And what does that time period look like? I wish I had a magic crystal ball to be able to point into and say, hey, here's when it's gonna be, whatever. But I don't think we're out of the woods yet. I think that we still have a few weeks to get through to assess what that's going to look like. But I do think that we are going to be some major supply side disruptions occurring here in the next probably week or so.
Yeah, I as an ex-truck driver, the supply chain was basically like my bread and butter. And what I've noticed and what I've heard from several friends is, and I've actually witnessed it, is the train yards are bone dry. There's nothing. And if you look at the Baltic Dry Index, things non-existent. There is no inflow of products from basically anywhere. Me and my wife went to a winery this weekend, and we were talking with the owners, and they cannot get any of the they got a ton of wine that's in all of their barrels, but they can't get any bottles because they usually get them from up in Canada, and they can't get any. So because maybe I like wine too much, but I literally bought out like half of what they had there. I'm like, hey, I'm getting drunk if no one else is.
That's right.
So what we're running into, especially with plastics, recycled plastics, because the U.S. would ship out plastics over to China. They'd ship it back. And we'd have these little bitty balls that would come, and they'd remelt it and reforge it into whatever. Well, that's gone. So if you think about how many of these are produced using recycled plastic, how many petroleum products are recycled plastic, that right there, that hits the packaging industry. Bam, you're shut down. You're done. You got nothing to do. And V, what are you seeing in the global supply chain? Is there any bright light, or are we on the arc of the tunnel where we can't really see light yet?
Yeah, I'd say we're maybe about 3 weeks out from seeing some light at the end of the tunnel from this thing. Global supplies are plentiful, but the chains itself they're all bottlenecked up. You have warehouses closed and whatnot. In fact, this morning I received an email from an Italian fine fashion warehouse that supplies much of the world's luxury items, Balenciaga. Some of you might be familiar with that brand. I received an email from them stating that their warehouse has shut in Italy. That's going to impact a lot of their operations globally, and you're seeing this all throughout the world. I see this also right now. People are like, "Oh, look, there's no gold in the market." For those that don't know, I've worked right now close to a decade within the LBMA Good Delivery Network, and a lot of people have all sorts of weird misconceptions about LBMA, which I cleared up on my Patreon so people understand it better. I laugh every time I hear somebody say force majeure LBMA. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But anyway, the problem right now is a lot of the refiners, the refiners have shut down. They've not refining anything. It also goes down into the miners as well. Everybody's shut down because nobody wants to get infected. Nobody wants to work. So that has created a spike in the premiums for metals. Right now, this is, here's my email that I got from my partner in Hong Kong and Singapore, who is the senior vice president for the largest procurement and logistics company in the world when it comes to precious metals. They're the ones that do all the procurement and logistics and vaulting, and they do it all in-house. They are also they've been around for 50 years. They've also owned the largest private gold vault in Singapore. Actually, it's the largest private gold vault in the world, and it's based in Singapore in the free trade zone. His latest email to me, this is what it reads. Okay, just to give you guys what's available. Okay, so right now, what's available that they're seeing right now, gold bars are and these are LBMA gold bars as well as the smaller 1 kg and 2 kg bars. 2 kgs are getting wiped out left and right. I can't even believe it. So gold bars right now running at our level, and we supply to. So when you call up JD Bullion and Monex, and if you happen to go to place an order with Atmex or any one of these guys like Jack Hunt, Dylan Gage, any one of these large suppliers who supply the smaller suppliers, they all buy from us. We're one of the vendors to the vendors. Okay. So right now at a wholesale level, okay, so by the time you get this will be marked up if you're buying from one of these U.S. dealers in gold, because there's no real big major player in the U.S. It's quite laughable. Right now, the premiums on gold bars are about 2 to 2.5% at a wholesale level. Okay, gold coins at a wholesale level, not on retail, because the retailers are going to mark this up by the time you get it. So just whatever number I'm telling you, just double it. Gold's going at 5 to 7% on both the coins, and also silver as well. So premiums are starting to jump everywhere because why? The supply chain is really bottlenecked. So there's an ample amount of supply, but the cost in order to move a product which would cost X amount of dollars, that cost has gone up exponentially. And this is what we're facing throughout not just gold and silver, but it's starting to trickle down into it's eventually going to trickle down into food. It's going to eventually trickle down into fuel. So these are things that I believe that the administration will get a leg up on, but it's going to vary and impact state to state. My state, New York, is run by idiots and managed by morons. Okay, so I expect disruptions in fuel. I expect disruptions in food supply. I expect this. Why? Because there's so much of a rigmarole in terms of bureaucracy and red tape that efficiency is something that is completely alien to these people, Ben. And so I think it'll vary on a state-by-state basis.
Yeah, you're at a higher level than me, of course. So what I can add to that is my local coin guy. He had no silver. He hasn't had any silver that he's willing to sell for probably 2.5 weeks now, and he's not quite sure when he's actually going to get some. And mind you, he isn't a huge broker dealer and selling millions of ounces or nothing like that. He's a local guy,
Yeah.
But he's seeing that he's having more and more clients offering him more than he would usually charge.
Sure.
But he's like, hey, I could sell it to you and put in the order. I don't know when I'll get it. He doesn't have a delivery date of when he'll actually get what he would sell. And another question I wanted your guys' view on. And whenever you guys need to leave, let me know. I'll just keep throwing questions.
Hey, Ben. Ben, real quick before you jump into that next question, V, would you mind speaking to, because I've had friends, family reach out to me a lot in regards to the metals pricing and the divergence that's occurring right now between the paper market and the physical market. Can you talk briefly about that? Because a lot of people are disconnected about understanding that divergence that's happening.
Yeah, a lot of people that, again, this is the problem with the talking heads. They'll talk, and CG and I talked about this before. The talking heads that are out there will talk all sorts of nonsense and literally just bull crap because they don't understand what the hell there is they're talking about. They don't work in the industry, so they don't know. This is the same type of groups of people that talk about, the LBMA is going to have a force majeure. The LBMA is not like the COMEX. It is a standardization board and a platform for transactions amongst its members. It doesn't itself hold any gold. Okay, contrary to what most people think. Now, a lot of people right now, because there's a crunch right now in supply. Okay, because of COVID, the Swiss refiners that we deal with, like Auger Horse, PAMP, Valcambi, who else? Nadal. Those are just a handful of the LBMA certified refiners. And look, there's tens of thousands of refineries out there, but only a handful are LBMA certified, meaning it is the highest, most anal retentive level of stringent quality that goes into an LBMA bar, folks. It's mind blowing just to explain how the supply chain is protected and handled. But anyway, they're all shut down. Because they're shut down, it's causing the ripple effect of premiums to jump and the constraint on supply. because of a constraint on supply, everybody is quick to jump. Oh, there's a divergence between paper and physical. Yeah, there is. It's finally going to break out. Paper is going to be completely divorced itself. There's a possibility of it happening. But I'll tell you right now, in 2 to 3 weeks' time, if this coronavirus, and if you look at it, the damn virus is pretty much range locked into the northern hemisphere, which is a telltale sign that this thing likes cold weather. It favors cold weather and doesn't like the heat and humidity too much, especially humidity. When the warmer weather shows up and things get back to normal, that's number one. Number two, the kill shot, which is hydroxychloroquine, is the kill shot to this virus. It kills it 100%. How do I know? The doctor that's being paraded online, Dr. Viktor Zelenovsky or Zelenikov, right? That guy, he's from New York. He actually is 15 minutes from my house. That he's already treated 700 COVID patients with hydroxychloroquine, Zithromax, and zinc oxide, and had 100%, Ben, not 99, not 99.999, but 100% recovery with all the patients testing negative in a matter of 2-3 days. I mean, people with severe upper respiratory issues within the matter of hours was resolved. Okay, so this is the kill shot, and the Trump administration has fast-tracked the FDA approval for and the FDA has already approved hydroxychloroquine for the treatment of COVID, which now makes all the idiot governors like the moron in Nevada look like an outright criminal at this point. Okay,
it's almost like the governor in Nevada is like a eugenist. You know, he's like, oh, no, that doesn't help you. You know, go ahead, die.
Exactly. They want to add to the chaos. Because, look, let's be honest here. This virus, is the virus real? Yes. Is the response to this completely overblown and unnecessary? Yes. And so once the world wakes up to the fact that, hey, you know what, this is so knee-jerk, this is such a fear, this is what I call hysteria 2020. Once the world goes past hysteria 2020 and we wake up on the other end, those refiners are going to be right back online. They're going to be right back online. So there's no real supply issues, okay? That's like a permanent supply issue. No, it's a temporary bottleneck because of the fact of this whole entire virus hysteria. But once the hysteria dies down, it will be business as usual. Now, what would the paper's futures market look like, and what would the dictate of that paper's futures market look on the spot price of physical gold and silver? I think, and I wrote about this as well, that we're probably going to look at a sustained $1,700 an ounce gold later on this year, and it'll probably stay there. I think the futures paper market will reflect that, number one. A lot of people are thinking gold's going to go to $5,000 an ounce by next Wednesday, V. You just watch. No, that's not happening. That's not happening. Okay, you're not going to see $5,000 gold this year. You're not going to see it next year either. Not even the year after that. Maybe in about 4 or 5 years, you're probably seeing $5,000 to $10,000 an ounce gold. That's a possibility. But right now, in the foreseeable future, the answer is no. 1,700 to 1,900 is a good hover point range for gold. Now, why do I say this? Because central banks will start to crack. They're already cracking. Look at the Fed. The Fed, because of this new stimulus bill, the constant trillions of dollars being poured into it, the Fed is going to die 1,000 cuts in bankruptcy court. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the reality of where we're heading here. So that, and the fact that all these things are coming into transvergence, you're going to see that paper price is actually going to have some sort of a synchronistic correlation to physical in some regard, but not in the way people think that there's going to be a complete breakout. So people that are out there saying that, hey, you know what, there's been a complete break between physical and paper. No, it hasn't. It's just temporary.
Let me ask you a question real quick. couldn't we enter into a scenario where the price of gold in US dollars doesn't go up, but the actual purchasing power on a global scale of the US dollar rises, where you actually gain the purchasing power in relationship with gold that you would if it was actually linked with a more fluctuating currency in actually like Venezuela or something like that, where an ounce of gold will buy you more product or commodity because the US dollar at the same time will buy you more in a global market.
Yeah. I think after this whole entire realignment, and this is a global realignment that's happening with this virus. Look, when the dust settles, and as crazy as it sounds, and this is, this is a adjusting a lot of my prior projections that I've had, for a couple of years, for so many years at this point. The U.S. is going to appear is going to emerge as the cleanest, dirtiest shirt in the playground. We will emerge as the cleanest, dirtiest shirt in the playground, in spite of all the problems.
Or as I say, we're the tallest midget.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. We're going to be the tallest midget, and we're still going to have at the end of the day, when the dust settles, it's still going to be the most liquid market. It's still going to be the most stable market that people would want to invest in. Look, wealthy people don't park money. Okay, they don't. Okay, I could pull up proof of funds right now on the screen and show you guys. But wealthy people don't do that. They don't park funds. Okay, what they like to do, they like to put money to work. And wealthy institutions that work for wealthy people to ensure a profitable return on investment, they like to put money to work as well. The rest of the world is going to be hobbling. China is not they're not emerging as the goose that laid the golden egg anymore. And what the CCP is doing in terms of damage control and PR after this whole virus debacle is cringeworthy at best. It's absolute cringy to watch. So they're not, so people are, nobody trusts them. And I'm like, my God, these guys need a PR makeover. I mean, my God, they blew it, man. They totally screwed the pooch,
How do you make a communist government look good?
You just can't.
Okay, well, yeah.
Especially after this thing. I mean, you killed the doctor who warned about the whole thing back in December. You killed him. Okay? You silenced everybody else. You kick out the reporters. When the CDC wanted to go into the hot zone of Wuhan, you stonewalled them and said no. You won't allow anybody to investigate. Those guys are screwed, man. They're screwed on so many levels.
Yeah, it's the CCP basically goes, we're going to sell you a really nice blindfold.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Well, I got you guys. What are your views on oil prices? I saw that Canadian, whatever you call it, hit like $4 yesterday.
Wow. So $4 for the gallon, or for
a barrel?
I mean, they go by liters. Like 2.5 liters is what, $4 a gallon?
$4 for a barrel of oil.
No way.
Yeah, there's an article up right now on oil price.
Holy crud! I missed that.
Asking if it's realistic if oil could go to zero. Seriously, they're starting to ask that question.
Yeah, I actually read that last night, like late last night, and I literally almost jumped on the air and went, "Holy crap!" It's
We have so much glut. It's ridiculous, man.
That's it.
And Ben, here's the thing. This is what people don't get. All the doomsayers, right? All the guys are like, the market will crash next week on Tuesday at approximately 11 a.m. It will be bedlam and mayhem. It's going to be Mad Max in the streets. It's going to be all game over. And the nuclear missiles are going to rain down on us with an alien invasion to right behind it. No. Folks, we're going to come out of this virus nonsense. And when we do, guess what we're facing in the world? Okay? Cheap money and cheap energy.
Bingo.
Okay? Cheap money and cheap energy. And whenever you face that, you have nothing but the biggest economic boom you've ever seen in your life. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to actually talk about on my show this morning, and I actually didn't get to it. Is if you want economic growth, you feed an economy 0% interest and cheap energy, and you're going to see that economy shoot up. Trump is not bullshitting when he says once we get over this hump, and he lights that match out of the Treasury. I think Trump is going to roll out a works program.
Yes, he actually tweeted about it just right now, man. It was like at 10:48 this morning. He tweeted out, with interest rates for the United States being at zero, this is the time to do our decades-long awaited infrastructure bill. It can be very big and bold, $2 trillion, and be focused solely on jobs and rebuilding the once great infrastructure of our country.
Bam!
It's all part of the plan, man.
Yep, we're about to see we're going to see a plan that makes the friggin' Marshall Plan look like lunch money.
Yep.
The airports, the highway,
all of it,
the tax credit for manufacturing infrastructure, rail. You want high speed rail with the technology that's actually coming out with like the magnets and all that crap. It will actually be profitable.
Yeah.
And it's once you can create a high speed rail that is profitable for shipment and transportation of populace, you're going to see America in a whole different light. We're going to blow past China.
Oh, hell yeah.
While they're trying to, they're going to be, their whole Belt and Road is going to be a dirt road leading to a cliff.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's happening. Look, we're USMCA. The entire Western Hemisphere is going to be humming, man. It's going to be humming. Like what W talked about. Like you look at all the narco trafficking that's being taken out right now. It's huge. They're taking down some of the biggest capos in the narco world right now, and that's a fact. That's like something you could pull up. It's really happening. It's really happening. The change from, folks, just consider this virus, as horrific as it is in terms of how it's affecting the elderly and the infirm. Consider this as a purging. It is a purging. We are transitioning. We are moving into a new age, folks. And when you have energy this cheap, my God, Ben, do you remember? You guys remember the days of 99 cents a gallon gas?
Oh yeah,
man,
baby.
Ooh. Oh man, my God!
I ever got it was 69 cents, and I called up my dad. He had one of the big old trucks with like 2 tanks. I said, "Oh, old man, get your ass up here! 69 cents a gallon." He couldn't drive fast enough to get up there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird. And this is the part where I think the Q drop of the 10 days of darkness actually comes in, because I follow Q pretty closely, because I recognize the structure of the communication as NSA formatted communication structures.
Right.
And so it's basically Trump and the America First group, which I've explained. If you don't know who that is, research it. It's originally a group of military generals that kind of trickled out over good CIA and good NSA agents and good ex-CIA agents. And what we got going on now is Trump is taking the Rahm Emanuel approach of never let a good crisis go to waste, especially when you have a cure for the crisis. It's the 10 days of darkness is going to be the gathering up of the mid-level, not the high level, not the Hillary Clintons. Those are going to be the trials that will come next wave. And right now they're getting the mid. They've gotten their information from the low levels. They've been sweeping them up for the last 2 or 3 years. They've actually been basing their arrest future on the low levels information. Now this is going to be the roll up of the mid level, and then the upper level will come later once the mid level rolls on information of the higher levels. And what they're doing is that's how you actually build anybody who's ever been in CIA or FBI or even local police, you have a supply chain of proof or evidence. And what they're basically doing is, this is such a large global network that you have to work with other global friends in order to exchange and interact flippers, and what they're doing now is rolling up that next wave. Well, that's why we have Hollywood elites, because that are flipping out, because this wave that's actually getting picked up now, it's not them, it's the people that would deal them.
Yeah, that's
who's getting picked up now, and they know that the Department of Justice is going to lean on them, and they're going to sing like birds. And Trump's right. You're going to see a wave of elites committing suicide. We're going to see a wave of. I don't think we'll see many arrests, because I don't think these people are going to be willing to. Hey, honey, could you make me a pizza, please? Thanks, Ben. Papa hungry.
You got to train pretty well there, Ben.
Yeah, that's my daughter.
Oh, you're not okay.
I
asked my wife that, she'd come in and probably slap me.
Yeah. Well, I pay her car insurance, so she gonna get. I'd rather actually have pizza, but okay. All right, thank you. It's that roll up of, and next, once Trump wins this election, and Trump will win, guys, don't sweat the election. We're good. It's all an illusion of that the mainstream media has been feeding us.
I don't know, Ben. I mean, Joe Biden looks pretty formidable. I have hairy legs. And the kids in the pool used to pull their hair down. And they used to watch them curl up. That's what I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. I love kids jumping on my lap.
My grandfather, right before he died, great man, God rest his soul, he sounded a lot like Joe Biden. And it's that man is either at mid-level Alzheimer's or something. There's no other explanation for his reaction and interact, because the key is watch for his interaction of information. Because when someone asks him a question, when you watch his facial and his body language of communication is way off. He isn't even trying to process the question. He's trying to process a coherent sentence.
Yeah.
I recognized it with my grandfather. My grandfather, I'd ask him a simple question like, "You want tea?" And his reaction would not be, "Oh, what kind of tea do I want?" He would be trying to structure the sentence he just heard. And that's what Joe Biden's going through right now. He isn't answering questions. He's trying to figure out the fucking question.
Right.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
It's the only hope, and they don't even have this. The only hope is they blow the dust off of Michael Obama. They tuck that thing in there.
Duct tape. It fixes everything.
Right. And they push her out there. But she won't do it. There's no way. She knows there's too much shit on Obama with Benghazi, with Jeffrey Epstein, with everything rolling out, because something that a lot of people missed when Trump put or removed the two people that were leading the JFK library. All right. The JFK library is not what you guys think it is. It isn't what you go in there and you see cute little pictures of him holding his son's hands. All right. The JFK library is an informational database structure that actually ties in with a lot of NSA and classified information. You have to have an appointed position in order to audit or access that information with him, because who was leading that? Valerie Jarrett, and I think it was Plain, was leading. If you know Valerie Jarrett and her history with the Muslim Brotherhood, if you know that history, you know this isn't a woman who works a counter at the JFK library. She's not ringing people out with JFK memorabilia. All right. They put her there because the biggest secret that is going to be revealed is from there. They put Valerie Jarrett there as a lock for that information. And when Trump replaced, it's why Pelosi worked so hard to get the money for the JFK library, because that money, that is lock your lips money. That is shut your plucking mouth money. And now that Trump has removed Valerie Jarrett and Plain from that position, whole different game. The JFK exposure is going to be the release of information that's going to crack open so many eggs, because JFK leads to Watergate. Watergate ties in with Nixon. What was Nixon looking for at Watergate? Think Hillary Clinton emails. At the time, Watergate was the server of the progressive movement's DNC connections and had all the information there. That's what they were looking for. They were basically trying to break into the 1970 whatever equivalent of a server. And that's what Watergate was. Well, that led to Nixon's ouster. Now, Nixon was close friends with and associates with Reagan. And Nixon was close friends with and a confidant of Donald Trump.
Right.
So we have a chain of information that Trump knows about. Trump knew Reagan. Trump knew Nixon. Who else did Trump know? Who recently tried? Who did they recently try and lock away for 9 years? Stone has more information from Nixon than you can ever imagine. And he was close friends with Trump. Well, not really close friends, but associates. And now, with the people they put in at the JFK library, you're going to see them dig into classified files that have not been exposed ever. And it's going to go deep. That's my opinion.
Very well stated.
Thank you. Let's see. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. You know what, guys? I think we solved the world's problems. Now we just got to do it. This has been an honor and a privilege having you guys on. I appreciate your guys' content, your platform. Once again, guys and gals, please, there's a reason I put V's Patreon group above mine. Check out the Patreon group. If the next 3 months, you're going to want the information as quick as you can get it. And V is on the front lines of a lot of big deals. And although he can't give you detailed information of names, he can definitely give you a verbal wink and a nod on what he sees coming. For only $10 a month, for what you pay for a crappy cup of coffee and maybe a donut, you could literally change your family's life for generations. If you're not on V's Patreon group, you are not where you need to be. So please join his Patreon. Then if you got a little change left over, join mine. V, CJ, love you guys. Where can everyone find you? Where can they reach you?
Go ahead, you first.
Yeah, jump over to RogueNews over on our YouTube platform where you can follow all of our work there, our daily podcast that we do with Rogue Mornings. Ben, it's been a lot of fun. Had a great time today. Thank you for allowing us on your platform. Thank all the listeners that tuned in. You've got a great audience showing lots of love and support for what you do. So keep up the great work, my friend.
Hey.
Go ahead, V.
Yes. Hold on. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. That message just came in. So same thing as CJ said. Go to Rogue News on the YouTube is the best way to get us. If you want to get me, join the Patreon. Either $7 or $10 a month, whatever you want. Join it. If you are interested in buying BTC privately and securely, contact me. Rather than going to Coinbase, put in all your information in, and especially if you want to buy large amounts, north of 5K, 10K, 20K, 30K, 100K, 800K. I just did 800K for a client like 2 weeks ago. Bought it privately and securely, no issues. It's less than 24 hours turnaround. I deal directly with a mining consortium group that works with institutions. We take you to the back door of where the exchanges buy it from, and we put you to the front of the line. You get your coins. I have access to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, as well as Bitcoin Cash. Buy it securely. We don't make any reports, so you don't got to worry about us issuing a W-9 at the end of the year to send to the the boys at the office down in DC. We're not going to be doing any of that. So it's secure and it's straight up. And also, if you're just interested in getting metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, we have access to that as well with the largest logistics and procurement company. People on my Patreon know about it already. But if you're interested in that, I can set you up and get you going on that as well. They are they're a 60-year-old company, and they handle about 75% of the global supply of right now diamonds and gold, and I mean, you name it, man. It goes on and on and on. So it's mind blowing, and it's vaultable, and it's highly liquid. So when you vault with us, if you say, hey, V, I want, I got 100,000 in gold and silver with you. I want 40 grand. We'll just tell you, no problem, Mr. So-and-so. Where do you want us to wire it, and what currency do you want it in? You'll have access to 24 different fiat currencies. We could also convert it directly into Bitcoin for you, and then go gold to Bitcoin, and we can go from Bitcoin to gold. It's a unique service. There's nobody else in the world that's doing it to this level. It's not even close. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. And all of the viewers, this is the last show for today. I promise. Everyone have a great day. Number one, love yourself. You're not going to change the world unless you improve yourself. Number two, love your wife, your kids, your family, your friends. Everyone who loves you, love them back. Number three, kick ass. Don't half-ass this day. Number four, dream big, dream huge. And I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.